All right, if you're watching this, then you or a loved one maybe have a case in Lake County, Illinois. Maybe it's a felony, maybe it's a criminal charge, a DUI, or even just a traffic ticket. And if that's the case, I bet you want any edge you can. You want to get this figured out in the best way possible, and you'll take any advantage you can get. So in this video, Attorney Jim Naughton and I are going to talk about our experience of practicing in Lake County, Illinois. So first, Jim, let's talk about the courthouses. Give me sort of the lay of the land there.
Sure, yeah. So that's a good place to start. So Lake County, they have their main courthouse up in Waukegan. So what's handled in their main courthouse? You're going to have your DUI tickets there. You're going to have any traffic tickets that are accompanying a DUI ticket. You'll have your regular misdemeanor charges. And that's also where their felony courtroom is.
Yep.
Now, they also have two different buildings at the Waukegan courthouse, even though it's kind of combined into one. You have the T building, which is the tower building. That's the newer building.
Nice, bright, shiny.
Beautiful. And then you have the C building, which is just the old building. It's
not quite as bright and shiny.
No. It's not a happy place all the time in that C building, not as much sunlight.
Right.
You could either have court in the T building or the C building. Typically what you'll see on a ticket is T 110, Tower 110,
yep.
C 207.
Correct.
That way you know which way is the courtroom. I always tell people, if you're going to the main courthouse in Waukegan, just build in a little time for yourself. Parking can be a little confusing, and so can getting to your courtroom.
Yep.
The deputies there are nice people, though. They've given me directions, and
yeah.
I'm sure a ton of other people. Then you also have the branch courts.
Yes.
You have Round Lake Branch Court. You have Park City, and then you have Mundelein. The branch courts themselves are all pretty much the same in terms of what they look like. You go through a single security line. They have the clerk normally right in front of you. If you have to pay anything, that's where you can go. You can also go to the clerk in Waukegan. But all of those courthouses just have one courtroom.
Yep.
So
can't really get lost. As long as you get to that building, you're not getting lost from there. It's basically a square building with a courtroom.
Exactly.
So what kind of cases, though, are handled in those branch courts?
Oh, sure. So in the branch courts, you're looking at just really traffic. Up to a Class A misdemeanor, so driving on a suspended or revoked, that ticket might be there. But you're not going to have a DUI ticket or a battery ticket,
right?
Or a battery charge, rather, in a branch court. You're looking at just traffic.
Yep. The way I would put it is, if you get just a traffic ticket, a stop sign, a speeding ticket, no insurance, all the million different things that you can get a traffic ticket for, that's going to be in the branch courts, right? Even some driving on a suspended license type stuff is going to be in the branch courts. It's only when you get the DUIs and the theft and violent crimes and certainly any type of felony that you get moved over to Waukegan.
Right. Now, what about the people who actually prosecute at Waukegan and the branch courts?
Yeah, a lot of the counties we handle have both village prosecutors and state's attorneys. So state's attorneys work for the county, right? They work for the head elected official, the prosecutor of that county, the state's attorney of that county, and they have a whole team of prosecutors. In this case, we're talking about Lake County, right? And they're going to prosecute any felonies. They're going to prosecute anything that is sort of charged under that state code and prosecuted by the county. But then there's this other thing where it's all these village prosecutors, right? Where the village of, Lake Forest or wherever, whatever town in Lake County, chooses to have their own prosecutor to prosecute their own cases, which are typically misdemeanor DUIs and traffic tickets.
Right. And I mean, it comes down to, like Derek mentioned, Eric Reinhardt is the state's attorney of Lake County. He's a kind man. I think, a little bit tougher than Cook County sometimes.
Sure.
And like Derek was saying, the state's attorney is employed by his office. They're doing felonies. They do some DUIs, so you may see a state's attorney, or that's what they call them, state's attorney, prosecuting a DUI. Typically,
yes, we're going to say the same thing. If the arresting agency is not one of the villages,
exactly,
like Illinois State Police or like the Lake County Sheriff,
Exactly.
then for sure you're getting the Lake County State's attorney prosecuting the case.
Right. And then the villages, like Derek had alluded to, pretty much pick up everything else. So the villages, there's different firms that will prosecute for a village. They're hired via contract. It's something that they bid for. And we're familiar with all the villages out there and their village prosecutors.
Yep. And so which one's better? I mean, it depends. I like that's a lawyer answer, I know, but it does. It depends on your situation, right? It depends what happened and where, and some prosecutors have different stances on things. Some from the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. Sometimes you can get things done that maybe you couldn't get done with the village, and the opposite is also very true. Sometimes you can work something out with the village prosecutor, where the state's attorney, because of their bureaucracy, is just not going to do that for you. So the answer is it depends. And you as a person who got ticketed or arrested, you have no control over this anyways. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, don't worry about that. Just hire an attorney who's familiar and can handle it for you. All right, Jim, so tell me, generally speaking, tell me about what your experience is with the judges in Lake County.
Sure. I mean, my experience, the judges are very knowledgeable out there.
Yeah.
You have judges who, most of them are either, like is common, they were either prior state's attorneys or they're prior public defenders.
Yep.
I don't get the impression that necessarily sways the judges there one way or the other. They're very fair in Lake County. I will give them that.
Yep.
Really, it comes down to a lot of your interactions with the prosecuting attorney. They might give you a little bit more of a strict offer, but I would say that when you go in front of a Lake County judge, you're getting a fair shake
Yes.
at everything.
Yeah, I agree. My experience is they treat everyone with respect and handle things the same way, no matter who you are, no matter what you're there for. They're gonna they're gonna be above board and handle things the right way. I think it's a good place to. I mean, there's certainly in my opinion, there's certainly worse places to be a defendant. I think you can get a fair shake, and at the end of the day, that's what you're entitled to, and that's what you're looking for is a fair shake on your case, a fair judge who's going to treat you the right way.
Right. And I will add this too, that in certain courtrooms, because they have such heavy court calls, they have so many cases on the call that I've noticed when people come in without an attorney, they might be waiting there for an hour,
Yeah.
a little bit more, because I have noticed practicing in Lake County now for a while that a lot of people do tend to come in with attorneys. So even attorneys are kind of jockeying to be the first in line to get their case called.
Definitely. That brings me sort of to the procedures. I mean, and this is something we could probably spend all day talking about, but Lake County definitely has their own way of doing things. Even little stuff, by the way, the cases get called,
Right.
prosecutors calling them versus the clerk, and the way the clerk's office operates, I would say, is effective and efficient, but like they've got their own way of doing things and how files get sent where, and now filing things electronically with their new system. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely a place where if you are not practicing there every day, then you are kind of walking around with a deer in headlights for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, to your example, the electronic filing, I was just in Lake County. I saw another attorney try to do a plea on paperwork, and the clerk in the courtroom said, "Sir, we don't do that anymore."
Right.
So even plea paperwork is something that we upload online that our case managers are very experienced with, and so are we.
Yep.
It's a system that takes a little while to get used to,
Yeah.
but it is getting more efficient. I will give Lake County that.
Yes, they've got their way of doing things, and that's okay. That's what they're allowed to do because they run the show there. Overall, let's talk a little bit more about some sort of general overarching themes with Lake County, especially when it comes to DUI and some maybe unique sentencing that they have.
Sure, yeah, there is definitely a really unique sentence in Lake County. This is the only county that I know that does this. They've created something called supervised supervision. So you might be looking online at the possible outcomes for a DUI, and most places are going to say supervision. Lake County has created this supervised supervision, which is still supervision.
Yep.
It's still not a conviction on your record. You're still going to be required to do things if it's a DUI case, like get your evaluation, do your classes, do your victim impact panel. But in Lake County, they impose supervised supervision normally on younger offenders,
Yep.
people with a higher blood alcohol concentration or BAC. And what it really
Or
means,
repeat offenders too.
repeat offenders,
Yep.
what it means in practice is that you're going to be going down to Water Street, Water and County. On Water and County Street is the Adult Probation Office, Adult Probation Services. It's very confusing. People think they have a probation officer.
Yep.
Not a probation officer.
Told you, Lake County does their own thing. You know,
It's a supervision officer
Yes.
is what I call a compliance officer.
Yes.
It's somebody that you're going to be checking in with during the pendency of your supervision, during the duration of it, to make sure that you're getting certain things done. And Lake County is a county that does like to impose some additional sentencing requirements like
Yes.
random urine drops, zero tolerance for drugs and alcohol.
Can't even work in bars and restaurants that
Right.
serve alcohol
Right.
typically. Now, you can get exceptions for that and stuff, but
Exactly.
work or attend. Like you
Right.
can't even be in a bar at a, you're 35 years old and your friend has a birthday party at a bar restaurant. If you're on supervised supervision, you're not even supposed to go to that birthday party.
Or to a cannabis dispensary. I get people who
Yes.
ask me, I thought this was legal. My DUI was for alcohol.
Yep.
But Lake County, that's part of their sentencing provisions, and it is something that supervised supervision they are checking in on. So
Yep.
that is one sort of quirk to Lake County, and it's important to have an attorney who knows how to navigate
Yeah.
that sort of stepped up system of supervision.
Absolutely. I have been in court where I have gotten exemptions from those things, right? Or ways to take it from supervised supervision, which is kind of, essentially what they did is they broke it up into two levels, low level supervision and high level supervision. And I've been in court where I've been able to either get it knocked down or get them released earlier to go from the high level to low level,
Right.
or get terms of the high level removed, right? And that comes with experience. I've also been in court where attorneys came to me and said, like, "Hey, do you know how this works?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me help you out," right? So yeah, there are definitely some unique qualities. I'd say the largest when it comes to DUIs is that supervised supervision. Very strange. I don't know if it exists anywhere else, but that's the way they operate, right? And that's what a judge may sentence somebody to, and judges can do that sort of thing. So, and once it's done, right? So that, again, I just think having an attorney who's really aware of it and all those ins and outs can be a major game changer for people in terms of the getting the best outcome on their case.
Right. And I'll just add on to that briefly. There is one judge in Lake County who, depending on what your drug and alcohol evaluation, what level it comes back, may change the state or the village's offer from a supervision to a supervised supervision.
Yep.
So it's also really important to know who that judge is, and maybe you're not going to do your plea on that day.
Right.
But those are definitely workarounds that an experienced attorney in Lake County, Illinois can help you navigate.
Yep. So I hope you learned a little bit about how, things operate in Lake County if you have a criminal offense, a DUI, a traffic ticket. I hope we provided a little bit of guidance and you're a little bit more confident as you move forward with your case.